So we really wanted to look at the document management system more holistically and kind of look at three paths that we think we could go on, and that is an evolution, kind of keeping on the same trail that we are now, an integration where we see much more third-party implementations coming in, working with all of the information that is in your DMS. And then my favorite is taking the concept of a revolution. If you could scrape the board clean and start all over, what would you do given the technologies that you have now?
So the topic here is modernizing document management. Before we get into sort of where we are and where we're going, just want to clarify what we mean by document management here. We're taking a pretty broad view beyond what you would think as document management system software. So I manage documents, Filevine, and also here. That's part of document management, but we're speaking about document management as a subset of knowledge management. So a set of practices and applications that leverage the data in a firm's documents. So modernizing document management is therefore innovation in the way that we leverage information in documents. And of course, the ultimate goal is to leverage this information to improve client services.
Yeah, so when we look back at when we talk about document management, the reason that we stopped sharing things on the G drive is because of security. A lot of rules that we had to meet, a lot of ethics that we had to maintain, a lot of confidentiality, and so security. And this is one of the things I interviewed a number of people at document management companies and others, and this is still the primary reason these systems exist, is security. We've advanced beyond that as we were able to be comfortable with putting the documents in. Then we started thinking about what we can do with them, and obviously, one of the biggest efforts that we did was collaboration, being able to share those documents to work across different offices, different continents, being able to keep an audit trail, version control, all of the coordination that you want with your system. And then the people in this room started springing up and to go even further beyond that, to look at organizing and accessing the information, being able to leverage it so that you weren't reinventing the wheel every time that you began a new project. And so I think traditionally we've looked at the document management systems that we've created have been very good at security and collaboration, but those systems themselves, really kind of initially fell short of what we were wanting to do to enable effective KM. And so one of the things, a number of things that we've looked at over the years, and I always laugh, my friend Toby Brown said, the one thing that does not keep a managing partner up at night is enterprise search. But it was one of the things that we pushed for a long time, that we have all this information. Why can't we be able just to, go across and search it? And we've been promised, natural language search, semantic search, since probably about 2002, and it's just never really worked. We also expanded, of course, with tagging the information, having it as a knowledge base, extracting the information, coming up hopefully with automated ways of building your key documents, your precedents. And then we even expanded further into contract review and to due diligence. And this is before generative AI. We were using a number of the tools to try and leverage that information because, quite frankly, it went into the system very messy. And so we were trying to figure out ways of post-integration into the system. How can we clean up this information with the standard forms, clauses, these types of data banks? And again, with the exception of maybe search, advanced knowledge management solutions have struggled to really kind of integrate into the DMS as we know it.
Right, so some of us have been working on enterprise search for 20 years now, and all of a sudden, something new has come along that has caused a lot of firms to sort of restart, and that is, of course, generative AI here. So, yeah, so in the past year of experimenting with generative AI, we've realized that it doesn't really work that well for firms without integrating the firm's knowledge. So we all have a critical undertaking in front of us now, which is to integrate documents into AI systems. And that is going to be the major catalyst and the major driver of modernization going forward. So some of these demands that are here on this slide, data curation, RAG support, which is also search support, tagging, relationship mapping, these have been sort of features of knowledge management for documents that have existed for a long time, and that we've been struggling with for a long time and working on. Before, they were nice to have features. Now, for integrating documents into AI systems, they are essential. So document curation, for example, we all can appreciate that having a set of documents that have been set aside, not isolated from the document management system, but elevated within the document management system, is useful for sort of knowledge management over documents. Data curation in AI systems is essential because you can't feed the entire DMS into an AI system and expect to get expect it to work effectively.
Although, has anyone else had a partner say, if we could just turn our DMS into an LLM, we'd be golden? I've had that.
Yeah. Semantic search was a nice to have if you are thinking about integrating documents into an AI system. Vector representation, also necessary for semantic search, is essential. Tagging, also, yeah, metadata filtering is something that really helped with traditional document management systems. Now, if you really want to integrate documents into AI systems, you need tagging because it's essential for the AI systems to understand the documents. And also relationship mapping and extracting the relationships between entities and concepts within documents is again, was a nice concept and something that we strived for in the past, and now it's going to be essential.
Yeah. One of the things that I know we've all heard is we'll have a partner come up to us and go, hey, I've got this process that I'm doing, and I know that ChatGPT will be able to do this. And the answer we tend to give them is, no, that really can't, but this tool that we bought you 5 years ago to handle this can do that. Now, we can turn that mirror to ourselves too, because there are interesting things here, but not all of these are new things. But because there is the hype and the expectation that we're going to be able to do more with our information, a lot of those tools that you probably already have but never really got buy-in for are still there ready to go. So this is not AI, generative AI answers everything. There's other tools that we probably already have that will help get the process started.
So overall, what we expect to see is a shift from human-centric to AI-centric document management. But it's not a complete shift, a dual focus. So the initial requirements, what matter to IT or information governments or to lawyers, will still stands. So core requirements like client matter segregation, enforcement of ethical walls or client AI use policies, metadata filtering and indexing and keyword search, still important. But these new systems and the way these systems are going to be modernized is to really incorporate more advanced document processing capabilities, like automated metadata extraction, vector embeddings, graph representation of documents, and unified data access, which we'll get into more detail. So document and metadata extraction. So it was always machine-readable documents is not a new thing, right? OCR has been around for a long time. That's fundamentally technology that allows machines to read documents, but now what we need is one step further. We need technology that allows machines to understand documents. And going a step further than that, it was usually the case in the past. The expectation was that a lawyer human would at some point look at the document in order to get the answer from the document. Now, with these answering systems, for example, that might not be the case, which requires much more detailed and much more granular extraction of data from documents like tables and graphs, and the meaning of those components of the documents needs to be part of the document extraction. Metadata extraction, tagging, manual tagging has been again part of document management. Now it's going to be essential, and this technology is really capable of extracting the metadata from documents that is necessary to power analytics and insights from AI.
Yeah, and I want to highlight one of the things that you said, and that was, if you think of this almost like a perplexity style of answer, you may have partners or attorneys who are researching your DMS to get answers, not to get documents. Mm-hmm. And that answer, again, may reference the document, but they may never actually go out and look at it. And that's a real change in the dynamics of how we think about our information. Because right now you think about, well, there's a clause here, they'll be able to see it, drop it in. But that's usually coming directly from the document. And now you're almost giving them an answer, which can be a little scary when you think about it, because in that way, the tagging, all of the back-end information has to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Vector embeddings. So it's crucial vector embeddings are crucial to give meaning to the words in documents, so that the AI can, so that you could essentially simulate understanding. What are vector embeddings? These are dense numerical representations of text that is able to capture the semantic meaning in a machine processable form. It's vector embeddings that enable semantic search and enables document similarity, identifying related documents efficiently, and more advanced AI reasoning capabilities over documents. The practical implications of this: it'll be easier for users to find documents that they're looking for beyond keyword search, also enabling automated suggestions of related documents, and effective processing of text.
Yeah, one of the things I interviewed, again, iManage, NetDocs, a couple of others, Lexis. This gets really risky in a way, because you start looking at, again, the number one focus of putting your documents in a document management system is that security, and version control, and being able to track who's been where and what. And this starts to get outside of that. And this makes the document management companies very nervous when you start doing that, because if they lose their reputation of being able to keep your documents and that information secure, keeping an audit trail, that gets away from their core business. And that's something that they're very reluctant to do.
Knowledge graphs. Probably a lot of people in this room have probably heard of knowledge graphs. So knowledge graphs are a way to both leverage and extend metadata extraction to identify relationships between entities within documents. And this really is the technology and the methodology that allows AI to really understand really develop a contextual understanding of the information within documents. This enables complex query answering, inference and reasoning, and enhanced information retrieval. And finally, unified data access. So document management systems, really one of the ideas was so that information would not be siloed, but in fact, document management systems just end up being a huge silo because they're not connected to any other documents.
It was a good thought.
Right. So, and in order to enable further rich contextual understanding by AI systems, you need to be able to integrate external data sources with the document management systems so that the AI systems could go out and they could find additional information and context so that you could enrich the data in real time so that you could have access to up-to-date information, so that you could connect your internal documents to external document sources like information from court records or from IntelliGIS, from SEC filings. And this is the way that ultimately you'll be able to really leverage your internal documents in order to, this is the way that you'll really be able to leverage.
Well, this is one of the things that I've enjoyed from coming into KM from a library stance, in that dealing with all of the external information that we pay millions of dollars for, and being able to actually connect that real time to our internal information has been a dream. But not necessarily one that we've been, we've gotten, I think, bits and pieces of it, but we just never really been able to find that linchpin or that keystone, I guess, between the external information and tagging it and being able to quickly identify the internal information. And so now I think with some of the advancements in the technology, having a tool that actually does language is something that's really unique over the past couple of years. And so I think this gives us a good opportunity to finally be able to quickly match all of that external information with all of our internal information and turn it quickly into knowledge.
The word I was looking for was blending. So yeah. The blending of internal and external information is really the key to comprehensive information analysis.
Yeah. Of course, as it's been said, I think more than once, if it was easy, somebody would already have done it. And maybe there are people that are in here that have already done it. Congratulations. But for the rest of us, we have a lot to deal with. Messy legacy systems. We all deal with this. There's lots of information that is in the documents that you manage that is junk, shouldn't be there. There's really important things that are miscategorized. And again, I think we really suffer from the fact that as hard as we tried to make sure that the information is available across a spectrum of needs, it really does tend to get siloed. And then we have spent the last 25 years pledging to clean up our data. And we'll hire data stewards, we'll get it cleaned up, and then we'll let the data stewards go, and then the next day it all goes back to how it was before. So we have to deal with this. We really need to get ahead of this now and set up our policies, our standards of here's what we're going to do, and just kind of help clean up 25 years of mess. For a lot of us, we've dealt with mergers, integrations, lateral hires that bring in information. There's a ton of information that's incompatible with the systems that we have, and we're going to have to clean that up. And like it or not, the data is not getting any smaller. It's growing exponentially, and we're going to have to really, the idea of manually curating the information is not going to work. And so we have to get beyond that. And of course, you know, it all goes back to the old, you know, adage that I've heard since the 80s is, you know, the garbage in, garbage out. Problem is there's a lot of garbage in our system, and if we're not careful, we'll get a lot of garbage out of a really cool system that we try to develop.
And there may be a feeling by some that it's really you're starting from scratch again, just because of the heightened importance of documents and document integration and all of the problems that have existed in the past. So it's really an opportunity, a chance to seize the opportunity to leverage what you've done, but start a new, improved processes going forward.
And Alex, I don't know why the iManage logo is that small, but it was not on purpose. So obviously the incumbents have a head start on this. They're already integrated into your workflow, but there's a number of platform players that are out there as well. And so there's going to be this spectrum again of partners that we can work with, which include things, you know, LexisNexis with their acquisition of Henchman. You know, VLEX is doing some really cool stuff, and there's a lot of platform players out there that I think are doing very interesting things. And of course, I think I heard someone say we used to get like 2 new companies a month that we would have to evaluate, and now we're getting like 8. I don't see that slowing down either. And there's people that are coming into this arena that are not in legal, and they're bringing in some really interesting ideas of where we can take our information. And of course, for those of us that are really stubborn and we want to do it ourselves, you know, we can partner with Microsoft, Cente, Brighter. There's a number of outfits that are out there that you can get started with if you have an idea that you think works in your environment. And it's kind of a funny thing. This is such a good sharing group to share our information, and we feel comfortable sharing our information because we know you can't implement what I do. It's just you know, that's the good and bad of this group or this community. But at the same time, there are a number of ways that things that work directly for you that you can do. And here's where I wanted to put a plug in. I posted this on LinkedIn, and I will probably put it on the 3 Geeks in the Law blog today. I basically took all of my notes from all these interviews and all the study I did for this and wrote an article that usually mine are 500 words, and this was, I think it was more like 10,000 words. And so if you want to see more deep dive into my talks with these companies and some of the things that we're talking about, it's my latest LinkedIn post. And
I think we understand where we need to go. We understand that there are significant challenges, and the good news is that there's sort of no shortage of participants who want to help out firms. And I think one of the clearest indications of sort of this importance of integrating documents, internal data into AI systems is the way that the information companies, as shown on the last slide, Westlaw with co-counsel, Lexis with Henchman, and VLEX are really moving from external data and trying to really assist firms with processing their internal data. And of course, there's an advantage that they have from having access to all of that external data and being able to help with the unification, blending of the internal and the external data.
Yeah, we wanted to wrap this up by going back to our three paths that we're that we think the industry is going to go on, and do a pros and cons on this. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're both pro, or, we're both pro and con. We might be both pro, but we wanted to take both angles of it. So on the first one, I wanted to talk about evolution. So steady progression, continue on, usually a lot with working within the DMS directly and what they will do. And why we think evolution may, or why I think evolution may do this, is one, they're there. They're already there. They have the customer base. They have the reputation and the engagement with their customers. And again, their number one priority, which they will, after talking to them, they will not ever let go of, is we will not take risk with your data. If it's risky, we're not going to do it. And so that's the one thing that you can have. You may not get everything that you want, but you're not also going to end up on above the law for letting things out that you shouldn't. Again, the robust infrastructure, which I think there's, as Ted calls them, there's still some server huggers out there that may argue with that robust infrastructure, but and again, they're already there, and incremental advancements are things I think that most people can digest.
I'll take the side of why the incumbent DMS leaders may struggle to take a leadership role in modernization. You have the innovator's dilemma, that the traditional strengths of the DMS companies might actually hinder their ability to take a leadership role. They've developed fundamentally human-centric systems that are meant to sort of address yesterday's document management needs, which may hinder their ability to address future needs. There's still a lot of firms that have elected to deploy their document management systems on-prem. That's going to present a significant obstacle to integrating the documents into AI systems, into implementing AI-driven document processing because of the need for GPUs and really more inexpensive hardware. And then there's a significant amount of disruptive market dynamics at play. You have a number of startups who are well-funded, have a lot of talent, and are singularly focused on this area. And finally, as we saw in a previous slide, a lot of the innovation that has happened in the past to advance, to implement advanced knowledge management capabilities have been ceded in the past to other companies, and that might continue.
Yeah, and so we're talking now about integration, and this is basically bolt-on third-party advancements for your document management.
I'll contradict myself with what I just said and take the pro side here. So, why integrations will finally succeed in ways that they didn't in the past. I feel like some of the innovators in the past have had to sort of convince law firms of the need for advanced knowledge management, and I think because everybody now understands the need to integrate data into AI systems, there's a more user-driven dynamics. We also have more sort of highly specialized practice point solutions that will come in where the document management systems are sort of more broad. You have more specific practice-oriented solutions that will serve particular needs. We have over the years developed better data hygiene. I mean, there's still a problem for a lot of firms, but there have been There's legal taxonomies that have emerged. Sally, of course, the most well-known, and is supposed to make systems more interoperable. So I see that as supporting successful integration in the future. And finally, proliferation of implementation partners. So there is a lift involved in integrating, two different software systems. But today, more than you have more players in the market who are willing to help firms make those connections.
Yeah, and I'm going to say why there's a disadvantage to the third-party bolt-on solutions here. And again, as we have more and more startups that enter into this and create these point solutions, just the keeping things up to manage all of these different tools is going to be an absolute nightmare. And so there's going to be this challenge of, as advancements happen on the back end, does that affect what's showing up on the front end? And of course, I'm harping on this again. If any of these solutions challenges the DMS security and their ethical duties for your data, they're not going to want to play with it. You'll have to basically isolate and use that solution outside your DMS. And then there's always competitive tensions. We've seen integrations of tools into DMSs, and not all the time does it work as well as advertised. And sometimes you have a great solution that worked great outside the DMS, went into the DMS, and then you never hear of it again.
And it works the other way. So if some of these third parties, they function without the integration into the DMS system, but because they're not integrated well, because they didn't integrate well, they didn't really manage to grow.
Yeah.
To grow. So. Yeah.
All right, we got 2 minutes.
Okay. Revolution. We both fought over who would take the pro here. We flipped the coin, and
we arm wrestled, and Laurent won.
So why we think there will be a paradigm shift, and why we think that third parties might emerge to sort of even replace existing DMS systems. So I think that really depends on how much the human-centered features continue to be relevant in these systems. If we're moving from sort of finding documents and then having a human analyze the documents to a world where we're asking questions and we're having the AI systems answer those questions, then I think that we could see a significant paradigm shift there. We have these new companies that are emerging that are building on AI native architecture that are not encumbered by legacy architecture. We've got a lot of talent and focus in these startups and outside investment.
All right, Laurent gave me the minute. All right, so high implementation costs. Yesterday, Kate and Andrea talked about, well, just put it in a data lake, right? And then have your DMS here, all your data there. Great idea, and I hope that works out. But the cost, and in fact, I had one document management system company told me, said, we would love to do all of this if the client's willing to pay 4 times the cost. And then again, I don't know if you know this, we're not a big industry for change, but I think we do have a window where change can be implemented. And again, if you can't find a way to make it reliable, and security concerns pop up, it's going to be an uphill battle to try and change things. And I hate to leave it on this, but at the end, maybe we're just not that innovative, right? So.
On that note, I will say, as we think about the practical implications, that we have an opportunity here today as knowledge management and innovation professionals to really transform knowledge management in our firms. It's not just upgrading a system to a better system. So that, if done well, we have an opportunity to deliver unprecedented value to our firms. So here we are suggesting a framework to follow in order to do that effectively.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Guys,
It goes this way.
thank you. I know we're out of time. I just want to say my confession is I have an unhealthy obsession with document management. And that was super interesting. I'm just going to take the privilege of having the mic and ask you one question.
All right.
You showed us so much that's possible, and it's really exciting. If you're any one of the firms in this room, how do you limit it? And specifically for you, Greg, have you, in the course of your research and your work, also mapped out what I'll call sort of high-value, document-centric workflows, right? What are the most important initial? And you don't need to go into all that now. And I know we don't have time, and the slides are available later. But has that been a part of the way you've approached this problem also?
Yeah, I think when you talk about workflow, and workflow is like the word du jour, right? Everyone's using that. But I think there's a lot of prediction that can be established if you've got your data right, you got your information right, and you're seeing this in bits and pieces across a multitude of products that are hitting the market. But as you are drafting a document, as you're pulling something up, I think what you're going to be seeing, and it's going to be something that's going to be so visible now that it almost becomes invisible, is all of the suggestions that's going to be coming your way to really streamline the workflow based on not just your previous work, but what the expectation is of what this work is supposed to accomplish. And so I think that is one of the biggest opportunities that we have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
I would just say that document management precedes any workflows. So in order to sort of capitalize on these on different workflows, you really have to first handle the document processing and document management.
Is the cloud help or make it harder?
I think you have to go to the cloud. I think none of this can be done locally.
So,
we'll stick around if you want to ask questions.
We're out of time. And Bo has his hand up, and I know that he's smarter than me, so I have, okay. We have a break time? Okay.
The only point that I want to make is like the outside world is solved like tagging. It's called XBRL. Like our clients like are tagging documents with the SEC when they file. And the reality is there's lots of taxonomies. There's lots of taxonomies out there already. I'm all for SOLI, but we need to, as an industry, need to figure out like how to tag. There's a standard that exists. We should support and embrace that. It's called XBRL, and it's not easy, but we should urge the DMS vendors and whoever, like you're trying to extract data, you might as well tag it with something that's going to be useful for your clients.
Thank you guys.